Our next guest got laid off 3 times, then built a business keeping over 150 seniors safe and independent. At 50, she didn't pivot. She actually answered her calling. Sheila, how cool is it to know at 50 you answer your calling? When people say that age is nothing but a number, that just wait your time. This is right here is just a proof that it happens. How excited were you at 50 to take on this new chapter in your life?
Well, I will say age is more than a number. If I were a different age, I might have done some things differently, but it's very exciting at this point in my life, in my career, to be doing something that I am so passionate about. And it's something that I thought I would wait until retirement to do. But like you said, due to 3 layoffs, the point came sooner where I was able to do it now.
I'm a big believer that life happens, right? And I'm pretty sure those layoffs, you were in the mind thinking like the why me, like what do I do now?
Mhm.
And I was just speaking to another leader earlier, and it's like a lot of these is just God's plan. We think we have a plan, but the plan that God's got for us is so much greater. And obviously, here you are, Sheila, with this plan that probably never existed, but you knew at 11 you wanted to help people, right? You always were in this giving space.
I did.
What does an 11-year-old even see that makes her that sure of I want to help people heal?
So I had a cousin who was born very, very prematurely when I was 11. And when I saw her in the hospital in an incubator, when they didn't know if she was going to live or not, I wondered what her life would be like if she did live. And then a whole year later, she was thriving, but she was still very behind in her development. So she spent some time with our family, and I spent days on the floor with her just playing, just what I thought was just playing and challenging her and giving her things out of her reach. And by the time our time together was over, she was walking. And so her mother said to me, well, you just did occupational therapy. You should become an occupational therapist. So I was 12 at that time. So I started to look into what that meant and where could I get more information about it. And that's what I became, an occupational therapist, all because of that experience I had when I was 11 and then 12.
I love it. I love those moments in our young lives. That's seeds that are planted, right? That was a seed that was planted, and you watered it. You watered it. Your family, I'm pretty sure, watered it, and it led you to what I would say was a pretty good career, right? Because here you are, you started your own, business now. What are some things that people underestimate starting a business a little later?
I think many people estimate the time that it takes because I have never worked so many hours in all my life. But now it's a labor of love. So I used to work long hours in a previous job and it bothered me and I felt angry about it and I'd be irritated about it. But now I work even longer hours than that, but I feel joy in what I'm doing. I feel much more rewarded in what I'm doing because I'm doing it for the least of these and vulnerable people. And most of all, I'm doing it for my family, my legacy, and for myself. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
one
so
thing.
cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, when we talk about working them long hours, when you're working for yourself, it's completely different. Like it feels a little better because when you go work for somebody else, like at the end of the day, you're just a number. But when you're doing it for yourself and you know that you're growing, as the more that you put in, the more your business is growing, the more clients you're getting, the more your family, gets to really reap that benefit, as you mentioned, that legacy you continue to create.
That's
But there was also a moment that you were caring for, I think, your parents, but they were in 2 different locations. Was that correct? And you were still working. I
yeah.
can imagine that those were some very, very hard times, but we could always talk about those hard times. What are some of the things that actually broke open out of you? What did you realize
Mhm.
having to do? I mean, hell of a task.
Right.
What that look like for you?
So I had my husband's uncle in Los Angeles, and then I had my mother in Louisiana. And both
Mm.
were living alone, and both were having health challenges and financial challenges and just life challenges. And my first answer was move him in with us, and we can help him out because we were spending a lot of time going back and forth to
Yeah.
help them. But my mother in particular wanted to maintain her independence. So that's the first lesson that I learned is that, seniors who have been independent want to remain as independent as they possibly can. And if you can make that happen, you should. And in my uncle's case, I realized that he was vulnerable because he fell victim to fraud and scams. And so seniors need some support. They need some boots on the ground. They need someone in their life engaging with them on a regular basis because they're more vulnerable maybe than they were when they were younger, and they sometimes fall for things that maybe if they had bounced it off of another person they might not have fallen for. So that's the two things that I learned the most, is to provide that support while letting them be as independent as they can.
Is that what led you dealing with those two, your brother's cousin, right? Uncle. It was uncle, was it?
My husband's uncle.
Husband's uncle. See, I'm gonna get it right. Husband's uncle and your mom. Is that what led you to kind of get into care building?
They totally were my inspiration. Uncle came in 2019, and he did, in fact, move in with us. And but because we travel and we work, we needed some help with him. So we started hiring people by word of mouth to assist us with him. My mother refused to move in with us, although we tried. So I started hiring people in Louisiana to help her in her home. And I realized that there were a lot of people like me, people still working, people with busy lives, maybe people tending to their own children, who needed help with their seniors that are in their lives. So, although there are many companies out there, I knew that the population of people over the age of 65 had surpassed the population of people under 35. So I knew that even though there's other companies out there and there's competition, there's a lot of room for growth and room for improvement. So I said, I'm going to jump in and be the one.
I love that. And I want to really also shed some light on someone that you introduced me last time that I was able to talk to you. Charmaine, you said plays a big role in your day to day. What makes her that co-builder in this vision?
Yes. That's another lesson that I learned, is you absolutely cannot do this by yourself, because you have to run the business side of things, the finance side of things. You have to do the hiring. You have to do the payroll. You have all of these moving parts that have to occur. You have to go out and recruit new caregivers. You have to go out and do sales and introduce yourself and get new clients and do the intake. So there's so many things that you have to do. You can't do them all. So Charmaine has been the perfect complement to what we're doing here. Perfect complement to me, because she's young enough to know all the technology and do all the social media and learn all the new techniques for things, artificial intelligence and all of that. But
Yeah.
she's mature enough to have had some life experiences and be dependable and reliable and know what it takes. So in these 2 years that I've been in business now, she has been with me almost since the beginning, and she was one of the best decisions that I made in the business.
How did you find her? Just hiring someone?
Yes, so I put an ad out on Indeed for an administrative assistant, and I got 199 applications.
How many did you interview?
So we narrowed it down to 100 based on did they even take the test that we put out for them to take.
Okay.
And then we narrowed it down to 50, and continued to funnel it down till we got to the final two. When it came to the final two, I called in my corporate office to help me decide between the final two. And so that's another thing I want to say, is that CareBuilders at Home is a corporation, and I am a franchise owner. So it's a franchise like others, like the other bigger names that you may know, Walmart, McDonald's, other franchises. But it's a smaller corporation. So I was able to get their human resources support to help me interview the last two candidates, and we agreed that Charmaine was a great candidate, and she has been.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying the podcast, we first want to say thank you. And we also just want to give you a little insight of what we're up to at FRANSiS. Some don't even realize that we're working with organizations to help them use AI to create that real human communication experiences, whether that's actually supporting your families, those patients, or the entire community. We're actually creating tech that connects. Check it out, francis.ai. Wow, look at that, huh? One out of 199, she
Yeah,
was the one.
yeah.
I love that. I love that they, the corporate was willing to help you. Like, even though you're a franchise, like, they still stepped in to make sure you made the right decisions as well. And that just speaks volume to that organization to kind of guide you through this all. So I love that you kind of mentioned that. You mentioned AI. You mentioned that Charmaine is good with AI. Are you guys using AI right now?
Charmaine is using AI. She's using it to help write some of our emails and help make some of our social media posts and things like that.
That's so good. I always say when you got to find, when you go find someone to be a part of your team, it's like you're dating. You got to go find the right one. And Charmaine seems like, y'all had that date, and it's like, this is great. I can hang out with her all the time.
Yeah.
And she's really helping you, being the backbone, it looks like, to the business. So shout out to her. And as you mentioned, a young individual that understands what it looks like, how to be mature in a place, worth ethic, all that. Because sometimes I feel like our young kids, they don't have that worth ethic we used to have, Sheila. You know what I
No,
mean?
they
They don't
don't.
work as
I
hard.
have
So
found
you
that
found somebody good.
I found that out in the hiring process of caregivers that it's difficult, especially the younger ones. Not that the
Yeah.
older ones are perfect either always, but it's definitely a different workforce out there now than there may have been some years ago.
Nah, I definitely, I haven't been in the place where I've had to hire young talent, but I do know when I did, I used to work at a retail, and I'm the person, man. Call me on my days off. I'm coming to work. You mean to stay? Yeah, overtime? Yeah, I'm working overtime. Like,
Right.
that meant money, more money in my pocket.
Yeah.
You just don't get that nowadays, though.
Yeah. It's
People
definitely
trying to work as
difficult.
less as possible. It's like, what?
I
What
think
do you what do
even
you
since
mean?
COVID, people have changed quite a bit. Even in these
Yeah.
years since COVID, these last 5 years, the workforce has changed because they got used to being at home.
Hmm.
And it's difficult for them to now get out there and be on time and be reliable, be dependable, and go the extra mile, which is what we do for our clients. I only want to hire people that are willing to go the extra mile, do the extra effort to provide impeccable service for the clients that we serve. And our clients deserve that. Every one of them, I see a little bit of my uncle and a little bit of my mom in each client. And so I want for them what I want for my own family members.
Of course, of course, and that's why you're gonna do so amazing in this space. I mean, how long you said it's been that you've now been having your own franchise?
So July, which we are in now, marks 2 years that we have been in business. Thank you.
Let's
Thank you. We're
go.
going to have a great
Congrats, congrats.
celebration on July the 18th as well. So
That is
we're
so
bringing all
amazing.
the caregivers in person for a mandatory workshop in celebration of our 2 year anniversary.
That is so cool. Yeah, that's why you're a great leader. You said, "Hey, I'm bringing everybody in, show some love." It couldn't have been made possible without the people that are actually doing the work in the front line.
That's right.
And you recognize that. That's what makes you a great leader. And I'm pretty sure Charmaine's working real hard to make sure it happens as well. While you still out there pushing and hustling and bustling per se.
Our caregivers are
Um,
invaluable. They make Care Builders at home what it is. They make it work for us. So we couldn't do this without them.
well, Sheila, no one can ever lay you off again, which is so powerful, right? What does that kind of ownership feel like after years of just instability?
Yeah. So it feels great. It is a great responsibility because I feel responsible for all of the people that we serve. And when I say people we serve, that's our employees because they are customers as well. So I feel a great level of responsibility to them. And I learned that lesson early on in my early hiring, when we were just opening the company and we didn't have clients yet because we had to have caregivers first. So I learned that you have to be very transparent with them and let them know, listen, we are building. We don't have 40 hours for you yet. Don't put in your notice on your other job just yet. But we are
Yeah.
looking for people who are willing to grow with us and grow with the company. So I learned that I had to be transparent about that. And then our other consumers or clients, customers are our actual clients and their family members. And so we have to be very, they have to be able to depend on us. We have to be able to provide the services that they need when they need it. We have to be flexible because we're talking about senior citizens, and things change with them all the time. So
Yeah. Did you feel that you were ever at a job and just felt it wasn't your calling, but you just stood there just because comfortability?
yes. My job in occupational therapy I've known that has always been my calling. And so I
Yeah.
still do a little bit of occupational therapy because I still want to keep my foot in the door and maintain my license and my skills. So I do a few hours a week working in an outpatient occupational therapy clinic.
That's cool.
But I was in another job where there were a lot of benefits and the pay was very, very good, and I was able to work from home. But I always felt a little bit like I was out of place, like it just wasn't the right thing for me. I'm a very social person, so I enjoy a lot of interaction. When you're working from home, you don't get that. And they were on the cutting edge of technology. So I always felt like I was a step behind. My coworkers were 28 years old, 25 years old, just out of grad school. And so I felt like the grandma, if not the
Okay.
mom of the bunch. So I
That's
felt like I
funny.
was a little step behind, and it just wasn't
Yeah.
me. I could do it, and I did it for 2 years, but it just wasn't me. And it
Yeah.
led me to where I am right now because of a layoff on that job. So I,
Got it.
my boss felt bad about laying me off. And once I opened CareBuilders and shared with her, I said, "You see, everything happens for a reason."
Yeah,
I
I
truly.
love that you had that mindset because it happens to people, and I actually just happened to my neighbor recently where he had lost his job, and it was because someone that he helped put in a position was upset with him, got him fired or whatever. So I
Mm,
said, hey man, I know right now you're probably disliking this guy, but one day you're gonna thank this guy. And sure enough, a month and a half later, he's thanking this guy because if it wasn't for that guy, to do what he did, he's not in the next opportunity. And I love that you just kind of changed that mindset of, hey, life happens. Life be life in. I'm gonna figure it out. But I
mhm.
ask you, what would you say to someone who's in that job they know isn't their calling, but the fear is probably louder than the purpose they have right now?
Right. So, first of all, I wouldn't tell them to hurry up and quit. Not if you have financial responsibilities like I did. But I'd say the entire time that you are doing that job, spend time exploring what would be a better option for you, where your interests are, where your strengths and weaknesses are. And I did that. I actually worked with a career coach, and she did some aptitude tests and some interest tests with me. And she knew that I had an MBA in addition to my occupational therapy credential. I also earned a master's in business administration, and I wasn't utilizing it to the max that I could. And so she
Hmm.
said, "It sounds like you would be a great business owner." So she introduced four different kinds of business to me based on my test scores. And one of them I said, "There's no way that's me." Two of them I thought, well, that could be me, but that's something I enjoy as a hobby, but I don't want to do it for a living. The third one I said, yeah, I could do that. But when she got to in-home care, I knew that that was a good fit for me because of the experience that I had with my family members and my experience as an occupational therapist. So then I took
Wow.
that and I explored doing it on my own, like Sheila's in-home care, just starting from scratch, as opposed to going with a franchise. And maybe if I were 36 at the time, I might have said, let's start from scratch. But at 56, which is what I was at the time, I'm telling my real age now, I said, why reinvent the wheel at the point that I am now? So I explored several franchises, and I chose CareBuilders at home because it felt like home. And interacting with the people made me feel confident that I could do this. So they were kind of like cheerleaders. You got this, you can do this. And they had a great framework that I could just pick up from where it originated and plant it where I am. So that's how I chose Care Builders at home, and here we are 2 years later doing well.
I mean, doing amazing. And if your team is anything like you, that means you have an amazing group of people because you're great. Just talking to you is amazing. I love it. You just, this bubbly person. I love it.
Thank you.
Um, there's those that probably are feeling, maybe late to the game, maybe stuck or scared, what's that one truth that maybe helped you keep going when everything felt a little bit heavy, unsure? What is that thing that you kept going to?
So I have to say I have a lot of support. My husband is supportive. My children are supportive. I bounce it off my mother and my uncle who we were caring for, and I got a lot of encouragement. But the one biggest cheerleader I had was my pastor. I have to say I went to my pastor and I said, Pastor Turner, I'm thinking about starting a business. He said, go ahead. And I said, well, wait. You wait a minute, let me explain, but he saw something in me that he thought no matter what the next words that I was going to tell him were, that I could do it. And he encouraged me and shared his experience as a business owner. And so with the confidence of all those people, I felt like I could do it.
Did you say your mom also got to witness you start the business?
She did. She was here for my soft launch when I kind of had a small grand opening for just family and friends. And then she was there for my grand opening a few months later. And she's always been encouraging me. And unfortunately, I lost her in September. But she got to see this get off the ground and get rolling. And she was happy and proud to see that.
Of course, yeah, yeah. She got to see her little girl, make something for herself in life. Like, how are you not happy? You go to rest happy at that point. So that's cool that she was able to experience that with you, and I'm pretty sure that was also for you an experience that you still hold dear to your heart. Sheila, this is such a good conversation, and I'm unfortunately we got to start wrapping it up, but I ask you, Sheila, where can people find more information? What is your website? Are you guys on social? I know you said Charmaine is on it, but for people to be able to find where you guys are located and just some of the things you're putting out there, what's the socials and the website?
So you just look for carebuildersathome.com IE, which stands for Inland Empire, which is the location in California where we are. So my office is actually located in San Bernardino, but we serve the entire Inland Empire. And people who live in Southern California know what I mean when I say Inland Empire. We're about 60 miles inland from Los Angeles. So again, carebuildersathome.com/IE or Inland Empire. And you'll also find us on Facebook as Care Builders at Home, Inland Empire, and on Instagram as well.
I love it. Look at you. You on it. Got the website going, got the Facebook, got the Instagram. Shout out to Charmaine. Is Charmaine somewhere in the back?
Charmaine's in another room being real quiet, so she didn't disturb.
She's going to be so proud of you and the work that you did today. You're doing amazing today.
I did one other thing I wanted to share.
Go ahead.
The one thing that what terrified me about going into business was going broke. And I felt like I was allergic to loans. I did not want to take out big loans, especially as I keep referring to at this point in my life. And so there's a method of investing in yourself. So if you have 401k funds or IRA funds that you have invested for your retirement, there's a way to roll those over, divest them from what they are invested in currently, and roll them over into your own business. So I encourage people who are interested in business and they want to go into business but they don't want to go into debt to look at that option of investing your own retirement funds into your business. And it's a rollover, so it's tax free. So that's something I want people to know about, and that definitely was a motivating factor for me.
Yeah, you out here dropping knowledge. We definitely gonna have to clip this and make sure we post this on the social. Okay, that was a whole gem that you just dropped right there, Sheila. Well, Sheila, we got to get to the blind question. So the last leader asked, what's one belief about care, leadership, or entrepreneurship that you hold tightly now, but wouldn't have really understood at all in your 30s?
So one belief that I have learned is that the population that we serve, which is senior citizens and people with disabilities, they are more inclined to not want help and not ask for help and not seek help. And even when help is offered, They tend to be proud. That generation of people have a lot of pride, and sometimes they turn down the help that would benefit them. So that's the thing that I have learned is ask for help, and it's okay to get help. As a matter of fact, it will add quality to your life to get help. So that's a major lesson that I learned. It's okay to get help. It's a good thing, and that there are good people out there to provide the help that you need.
You dropping all the wisdom here today, Sheila. Dropping all the wisdom here, and I love it.
I
What is
told
your
my
blind
kids
question?
I will not reject your help. When it comes time for me to need help, I've already told my kids, move me, bring me, get me a room in your house next door to you, where whatever it takes to make sure that I'm not alone. Because in this day and age, our seniors live here in California, but their kids are in Florida or Ohio or Nebraska or somewhere 1,000 miles away. So
Yeah.
we're such a mobile society like that. So,
Yeah, you're right though.
okay.
My kids better move me in or something, like
But you gotta be
put me
nice
close.
to
You gotta
them.
come visit me. Say it
You
again.
gotta treat those kids well
Oh, yeah, yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
raising
No, for
them.
sure, for sure, for sure. No, Sheila, what is your blind question to the next leader?
Repeat that for me?
Your blind question. What is your blind question to the next leader?
My blind question to the next leader.
Yep, that we speak here on the Heart and Hustle. So every episode, we're gonna ask just like I asked you a blind question.
Hmm.
We're gonna ask the next leader a blind question. Do you have any question you want to ask someone that you've never met, but you know as a leader, it could be in the healthcare nonprofit space? What would you ask them?
I would ask them, how is the work that you're doing helping someone that's less fortunate?
Okay,
Because there's
Sheila.
a lot
Sheila,
of
what?
people in it just for money or just to get rich, or and nothing wrong with money and nothing wrong with getting rich if that happens to happen. But in the business that you are working in the community that you serve, what are you doing to help someone else that needs a helping hand?
I love that. I love that. I love the conversation we had. I love what you stand for. I love that in your 50s you were able to launch your first business and it's going so well for you. 2 years, congrats on 2 years as well. And I can't wait, to see what the next couple of years look like for you. Like you're 2 years in, you've built a team, you have a Charmaine. What happens when you start to, implement more Charmaines and now you have all these little, I wouldn't say little, I hate to use the word little and belittle people, but you have all these talented individuals around you that are really just kind of seeing what you stand for and helping you reach heights you probably never even imagined. So congrats on just being so patient with yourself as well, on never giving up, having a good mindset. We should have talked about mindset. Clearly you have a really good one. That's what led you here.
It's not this
But
great every day, but I pick
yeah,
myself back up every day.
I love it. Well, Sheila, thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys do share, like, and comment. Make sure you guys check out Sheila. Sheila, you're on LinkedIn as well?
I am on LinkedIn. Sheila Jones-Lilley on LinkedIn. I am.
Perfect, guys. If you guys want to connect with her, you guys know where to connect. This has been Efrain. This is Sheila. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Latest.
Thank you.